Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm not really sure what to start with here. Let's just call it what it is. I left everything, almost everything, for an extended period of time. Like I quit YouTube. I didn't put anything on the podcast or on the blog or the website. The only thing that I really did was what I already have going on, like with my current students or current business interactions or relations that I have outside of the whole visibility of the platforms. And so yeah, I thought that I would kind of jump on here today and tell you what what happened while I was away, and what the plan is moving forward. And I'm going to put my little security headphones on here because this is part of the new change. It's part of the new change. For those of you who are on the YouTube channel, things are going to be different here on the video side of things. I created content about decluttering, clutter-free living. A lot of that content was B-roll heavy, like getting shots. And honestly, I kind of felt like my job had transformed from creating ideas and sharing ideas in a creative way to becoming an editor, a videographer, like a type A anal personality about keeping things clean in case I needed to get a shot of something. It's kind of giving me anxiety just thinking about it. That's something that I've always kind of struggled with. I've shared that before with you guys, is anxiety. And depending on what I have going on in my life, it can present worse sometimes than others. And sometimes I'll go like a really long stretch without having any anxiety. What's actually interesting is when I decided to kind of quit everything, like it wasn't even a thought out decision. It wasn't like I sat down and made out a plan of like, okay, I'm going to take like a month off or a year off, or I'm just going to quit making videos and do this, or this. No, I didn't even put a video out there like, hey, this is my last one, because I didn't have a clue what that plan was going to look like or what it was going to be. And so I just I posted a video, and then before I recorded or posted my next one, I just was like, all right, I'm done. It was almost apathetic, not even necessarily anxious. It was a little more on the opposite side of that. I just felt a little bit apathetic to all of it. I just felt like, I don't know where this is going, but if I keep doing the same thing that I'm doing right now, that's not really making me feel happy or fulfilled, or, isn't where I want to be in 10 years, then I'm going to be in the same space in 10 years. And so, I think somewhere inside, I knew that I needed to just stop and just not even think about it and just go on with my life. And in my past experience, I've had a long lifetime of experience since being like a young teenager with things like anxiety and depression. And because of all of that experience, I knew that pulling back and taking that solitude, that silent time, was going to bring clarity, because it always does. I haven't felt actually depressed in a really long time. I kind of want to put that out there. But I remember the feeling, and I remember back when I did have bouts of depression. Eventually, it didn't start off with this self-awareness, but eventually I did develop the self-awareness that this is not any indication of where my life is or what's going on in my life. This is just something that I'm physically and mentally feeling, and it's going to pass. I think that having that awareness is huge. It lifts the weight, it makes it feel better. And it's kind of the same thing with the anxiety, with the tweak, I would say, of understanding that the anxiety maybe takes a little extra step for me, because a lot of times for me, the anxiety is caused by whatever I've done to my schedule, or whatever situation I've put myself in that's applying a little extra pressure that I'm not used to, or that I'm not comfortable with, or that some part of my lizard brain is just terrified of. But in general, understanding that sometimes these things happen and sometimes they pass has always been really helpful and cathartic for me. And so I knew, taking this time off, something's going to come to me. Maybe I'll never make another video. Maybe I'll take 2 weeks off and suddenly I'll get inspired to make a different kind of video. Or, I had no clue, honestly. So what did I do? Well, I was at home with my 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old. She'll be 3 next week. Fun fact, this video is being released on my birthday. So my birthday is November 11th. Hi, everybody. I'm now a year older. And my daughter, my 3-year-old's birthday, or she will be 3, November 14th. So that's kind of cool. We're both having a lot of birthday parties this week. And honestly, that's kind of like part of the reason that I decided I chose today as the day that I release this video, kind of explaining where I'm at in my life, where I'm going. As far as I can tell, like any of us really necessarily know where we're going, but that, gotta stop and breathe. Sometimes I talk so fast and so much that I've just like gotta stop and breathe. So during that time, I was still here at home with my almost 3-year-old every day. And I got to really enjoy spending a lot of time with her. Started doing a lot of like learning games and plants. Like I became a crazy plant lady, guys. You don't even know. Like for years, I've been touting on my show, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching the video podcast, about how terrible I am with plants. I've always had like a horrible black thumb. I would kill anything. I would kill succulents. And it's not because I wanted to or because I didn't care. I just was dumb when it comes to plants. I just started like growing all kinds of things. I grew berry plants. I grew cucumbers. I grew some giant cucumbers. I'll have to show you a picture of it. I shared it with my email list. And so, Chloe was there helping me dig in the dirt and replant things and grow these strawberries and blueberries and raspberries and cucumbers and honeysuckle plants and all of these different things on our little deck. There was a lot of that going on, a lot of getting your hands in the soil, a lot of repotting. I found that really therapeutic and cathartic to physically do something with myself that had nothing to do with my future or where I was going or what, any of that stuff. And then I dug even deeper into my newfound weird passion for local birds. I have a lot of bird feeders. I think I've got like 4 different bird feeder sites at this point. I got the app on my phone, guys. Like I'm a millennial who's like 80 years old at heart, apparently. I got an app on my phone so I can take a picture of a bird or listen to bird sounds and it'll tell me what kind of bird it is. I can tell you chickadee or, it's a nuthatch. So I did that. And I just really just took some time for myself. Okay, if I'm going to be totally honest, when I first decided inside of my brain, okay, I'm done. Like, I don't know what this means, but I'm done. The first thing I did was I went downstairs and started playing God of War. I said it. I went downstairs. I started playing God of War. That was the beginning of it wasn't all just like digging in the soil and, helping my 3-year-old to learn her numbers. Like there was a good period of time where I just vegged out into God of War. And I don't feel shame about it. I enjoyed it. It helped me to get to wherever I needed to be. It ended up being almost 4 months before I started getting like a little inkling of inspiration. Like that muse started kind of like peeking her head up, like, hey, you want to kind of dabble in this, don't you? Don't you want to kind of like create a little bit of this? Doesn't that sound like fun? Like I love it when the muse comes back to you and you just start feeling inspired and motivated and curious. There's a lot of curiosity. As a creative, I really love being able to lean into the curiosity side of things. That's why I talk so much about not just like steps to declutter things here on the channel, but I really try to get into the psychology and the science and the thought patterns behind it, because that's interesting to me. There's a lot of curiosity there, a lot of things that you can explore. So I started writing a little bit. I started, dabbling a little bit in some graphics just because I felt like it, just because I wanted to mess around with it and make something that looked cohesive and pretty. And then I made a freebie, a declutter your first room freebie. It's down in the description. It'll probably be in all of my descriptions. It's a blueprint to declutter your first room. I talk about what I believe that first room should be and why, and then the exact steps to take to get there, my whole holistic approach, all of that stuff is inside of that freebie. I can't remember the link off the top of my head. It's probably something like miadanielle.com/declutter your first room blueprint, but it's easier if you just click the link if that's something you're interested in. But I created that. And that kind of like dominoed into another idea for something that I wanted to create for people that I thought would be helpful. So I created this new thing. And by the time I was done with that, I just knew what I wanted to do. And I wanted to really lean into the podcast, but not the way that I used to do the podcast, where it was all just audio and just myself talking and sharing my thoughts, kind of like I'm doing right now, except with a video. I wanted to really expand on that, to make it a platform not just about decluttering, but also about simplifying and self-improvement and happiness at home. And a big component of that, because I believe it is a big component of that, would be the environments and how our environments can help support us and shape that. And of course, a component of that, a subcomponent of that is always going to be decluttering and living without all the excess and without all the things that distract you. But, after 4 years more, really, if you think about the blog and the podcast of just talking about decluttering, it can feel a little bit one-sided. Like there's more to our environments and the way that they shape us and the way that we experience life inside of them, whether you have kids or not, whether you're a stay-at-home worker or person, or not, like there are so many different levels of support and happiness and joy that you can get right there in your home that we could all be tapping into. And I've shared here on the channel before, like one of the biggest bringers of joy in my life was just the process of simplifying my thoughts, my expectations, simplifying my space. I have a whole video on it that has actually performed really well about so many things that I quit in order to simplify. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I go through like tons of things that you'll learn a little bit about my history and my past in that one. But that's the kind of thing that I really want to expand more on. I really want to talk about some of the terrible things that I used to experience or used to go through, and how that's changed and how it's simplified and how life is and can be better for anybody out there. We have such a limited amount of time here on this earth, and we can either like stress about that constantly and just like be so afraid that we continue doing the same little things and making the same decisions over and over again in our little safe zones that aren't making us happy, or we can try to expand on that. We could try to take a deep breath, get out of that little zone for a little bit, make life a little bit happier. And if I hadn't made a lot of those decisions over a decade ago, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I love where I am now, even with the occasional bouts of anxiety related to, to work or to business, or not knowing exactly professionally what I want to be creating, or, like regardless of any of that, like I could lose all of this stuff in a second and I would still be one of the happiest people I know. And to be honest, like even since coming back and looking through my old feed, because I stayed pretty much off of YouTube for almost 4 months, and Instagram, social media, I was pretty much off of like everything. I was just here in my zone, in the environment that I talk so much about, and I loved it. It was pretty awesome. I loved it. I wish that everybody could experience that inside of their space. I know that so many people don't, and that's part of the reason that I do what I do. But as I started coming back, re-entering a little bit, perusing just a couple of the really nice comments that have been left on videos since I've been gone, and seeing other videos recommended in my feed, I saw like, and honestly, I do not want this to be taken as any hate on anybody else. Like, I've been a creator. It's hard. It's hard being a creator, and it's hard chasing the algorithm and trying to create content that people both want to watch and that you feel inspired to create. It's a really tough balance. But looking at a lot of the titles, I was like, man, nothing has changed. Everything feels exactly the same. Like, I feel like I've seen so many of these exact same tips and hacks a million times already. And I started feeling physically like kind of closed in. I think like my shoulders even hunched a little bit, and I started feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit tense, like, oh, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to do that. That was my physical and emotional response. And I had to stop and think and like let myself expand a little bit. That's not what this is, right? This is something different. I'm not going to be necessarily sharing everything that everybody wants to click on. I'm just going to say that right now. There might be some times where I feel like certain tips related to X, Y, and Z would be helpful for people, but I don't intend to make a bunch of listicles. Like, that's just not my vision. That's not my plan. I want to share some really good conversations, ideas, and thoughts and perspectives that help to reshape how we experience not only our spaces, but also our lives, and how we can bring our environments into that whole reshaping. There are like so many amazing channels out there that do a great job of showing B-roll and giving you those great inspirational ideas of things to declutter. That's probably not what you're going to find here anymore. So what does this new channel look like? For those of you who are looking and not just listening. Well, first of all, you're going to see this lovely arm that I've created or purchased. This is my new microphone. I'm very excited about it. This arm is awesome. It reaches all the way across the table. You can't see that side of it, but it's like a really long, straight arm. So I'm able to sit on this side of the table without having external arms that are like standing on the ground and everything. It used to be quite the setup, if I may say, to get my videos recorded. There were several tripods involved. There were arms involved. There were like different lighting things. This is going to be a lot simpler. It may not be super high res all the time. I'm trying. And another thing that you're going to see a lot of probably is these headphones. I know they may not be like the prettiest, like they're not pink or cream or like, I don't know, but they're really good headphones. My husband bought these for me actually probably like 3 years ago, maybe even longer, when I was focused solely on doing the podcast. And if I'm being totally honest with you, do I need the headphones if I'm just recording by myself? I don't. Like, I never heard myself speaking into the mic before when I was looking at the video camera. It is helpful when I'm interviewing other people because I can hear them, obviously, while not having an echo that's coming through my computer. But when I'm recording by myself, it's more of a security blanket and an icon, I guess I could say, of this new change. I don't have to worry if my hair's sticking up. You know, I feel like I'm a little bit cozy, a little bit covered, a little bit protected by having my headphones on. And it may sound silly or whatever, but if it works in my brain, then it's a real thing, right? I like being able to hear the feedback so I can tell before I get into post. You don't even know how frustrating it is to record an entire video and then go to edit it and realize that the sound wasn't working because the microphone wasn't plugged in all the way, or it died, or like any of that stuff. So it is a little bit of a security blanket also to be able to hear my voice and know that everything is going as it's supposed to be going. So I don't know. There may be some episodes where I'm just feeling super cool and my hair is having an awesome hair day that I wouldn't dare cover with some headphones, but I doubt it. I'll probably be wearing these most of the time. And the other change, aside from the subject matter and the new props that you see in the screen here, is something I hinted at earlier, that we will have more guests. I don't want everything to be like an echo chamber over here. And also, I want to be able to have conversations with people about it, like have somebody else on the other end that we're going back and forth, and I'm hearing their thoughts and they're hearing my thoughts, and I'm learning something new and you're learning something new, hopefully. So not every episode is going to have a guest, but I do intend to have more guests come on and have these kind of conversations. So yeah, that's where we're at. Things are going a little bit long now. I think that I've pretty much explained everything that needs to be explained. Thank you for still being here and for watching this. If you've made it this far in the video, that's awesome. I hope to see a lot more of you in this lovely new video podcast, which, by the way, if you haven't ever listened to the podcast, like on Apple Podcasts, it's the Mind Your Home podcast. I know I never really mentioned that a whole lot over here on the YouTube channel, and I never mentioned the YouTube channel a whole lot over on the podcast. They were like two separate entities. But now that they're all one, you might as well know that if you just want to listen, you can also find the podcast over at the Mind Your Home podcast. And yeah, I'll chat with you soon.